Hello and welcome back to the Gym Girls Locker Room podcast, hosted by me, Sydney Cassidy. Today we have Lucy Reeves, also known as Lucy Xfit online. She is probably one of the leading sort of figures on body positivity. She really started that trend of being a lot more vulnerable and a lot more open with how your body looks and how everybody's bodies look, how they move, and that we're not this perfectly shaped, formed figure the whole time. We discussed a lot and it was really, really honestly healing to hear her talk. I feel like I personally took a lot away from it and I know you guys will too. We discussed body positivity, acceptance, grief, and how that can shape how you see the world. We spoke about the impacts of the media and how what we consume can really profoundly impact and affect how young women see their body and actions we can take to stop doing so. And I think it's a really, really insightful episode. I'm really excited for you guys to listen to it. Remember, you can find us at Gym Girls Locker Room on all platforms. We also have a clips channel now. So if you do just want even more Gym Girls Locker Room content, remember you can find our clips at GGLR podcast. And I think without further ado, let's get on with the episode. Okay, well, so good to have you on the podcast, Lucy.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. So fun.
I feel like you are the queen of body positivity.
Thank you.
She's one of the OGs.
I feel like I was. Yeah, I am.
I am.
Yeah.
No, you still are, girl.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
What was your relationship like with your body when you were growing up?
Not good. I remember fixating on the concept of once I look a certain way, then people will like me. I think it stems back from being at school and everybody is talking about looking a certain way and everyone's like, oh, have you guys got a thigh gap? Have you got a thigh gap? Or, making comments about that sort of stuff. And I was literally no, I haven't got a thigh gap. And I never have, and I never will have a thigh gap. So I think it stems from this idea of when you're at school, you're fixating on, did you have it when you were at school? All the girls in the changing rooms are talking about different body parts. Oh, I wish I had a bigger bum, or oh, you've got boobs and I haven't got boobs yet. And then I also danced a lot as a kid.
Oh, she was a dancer.
So that's where a lot of things come from, right? So you dance, and then I remember ballet teacher saying to me, "You're just too big for the sport. You don't look dainty and elegant." Because I've always had a bigger chest and big legs. I don't do a lot for them, but I've always had big quads. And I remember just being what do you mean I don't look elegant? I was a good dancer. So why does it come down to being small? And I wasn't even, looking that different from everybody else, but I just had a bigger chest and I had to have a sports bra. And my ballet teacher, remember her saying to me, you can't wear that sports bra under that leotard, it looks awful. And she made me take the sports bra off before I went into a ballet exam. And I was so conscious that I was gonna spill.
How old were you?
Out 12, 13. And I was just but it's also painful. If anyone's got a bigger chest, that flinging yourself around, it's painful to be without a sports bra. I could never be not in a bra because it's quite painful to walk around and stuff. Anyway, for me it is. So I just remember being okay, so much of what you look like is based on how far you get, because it's not based on just talent alone. And then I went to sixth form in uni and I was I just wanted to be smaller, and I was obsessed with gym content online. And I was okay, so I'll train like a bodybuilder and I'll eat like a bodybuilder and then I'll look like a bodybuilder and then I'll be successful and then people will like me and then I'll have a good career and, it won't, that's how it'll go down. And so I just went crazy in controlling calories and stuff. And I just remember being my hair was falling out because I wasn't eating enough food. My skin was so bad because I was just eating whatever would hit a protein target for a day. Doesn't matter what it was. It was maybe 3 or 4 protein shakes a day and nothing else. And I really thought that how you looked would reflect in how well you did in life or how much you were loved by other people. And I think that probably stems from dancing, because it's how much of it is based on that. So
it's so like, it's so strange because we literally have just had on like Strictly Star Diane Buswell, and that's what was like a really prevalent sort of like theme throughout the episode, and I guess throughout her life as well, of like being a dancer. But I also wonder, because how old are you?
24.
Yeah, because I'm 26, and I do wonder as well, like, I also wonder, like, do girls go through what we went through in school? Is that just a part of the
I think it
female
is
experience?
Because Alex has got a little sister, and she's making comments to me about stuff, and I'm like, this can't be happening again. I'm amazed that the conversations are still happening. Like, she said to me, I want to have a flat stomach for summer, so I think I might start doing like 12 sit-ups a day in the morning. She's like 11. I was like, please.
Where's that coming from? Like, peers?
I don't know if it's coming from online content, because so what we had growing up was like what other people are saying around us, and the content we consumed through like magazines and stuff. I remember seeing magazines, it was like, you know, commenting on celebrities and how they looked in like the beach, or they've let themselves go, or all this stuff. And then I think that then reflected into our generation, right? The front of like Heat magazine was like,
even like the do you remember the programs, the TV programs?
Yes,
like super size versus super skinny.
And like so much of like TV and culture and online, not online consumption, but like just like what we used to watch was based on, you know, being smaller and picking people apart if they, you know, let themselves go. That was like the like headlines and newspapers. And it's like, no, it's just a shot that they're not posing for. But I think now it's coming from online content, because it's so much more, and like you can try and avoid it, I think, as a parent, but I think it's so hard because other people have got it in schools. But yeah, I think like, because now you can, like, even if you don't let your child have social media, one of their friends or relatives will have a social media and they can see it. Because one of the things I've noticed is young people want to do skincare, and I'm like, you're putting like acids on your face just because you're seeing other people like doing a get ready with me, which is technically harmless content, right? But people want to these young girls are using like skincare products that they should not be using on their face, and I think, oh my god. So I think it is happening again. I just think maybe it's a part of growing up, and it's just different to how we had it.
I think the reoccurring theme though is that like it's like young women are just so goddamn impressionable.
I know.
Like, I think about for us when we were growing up, and I know it will resonate a lot with like a lot of our audience listening, that like we would have, I think there was a massive emphasis on being smaller, but also on like diet culture. I feel like for me, I've never had an eating disorder, but I do feel like I've definitely had disordered eating
habits.
Yeah. That, like, to be honest, I didn't even realize were there until I've had conversations, say, with my sister, who's like, hey, do you know that's not right?
Yeah.
And just like even growing up around, I don't know if you had the same with your mum, but I grew up with my mum constantly on like Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
Which demonizes food, you know, good food, bad food. That's a sin.
Yeah,
like as a child hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, my mum didn't specifically use Weight Watchers, but like other relatives around me did, and I think I listen to a lot of like my mum's friends when they talk about food, and it's so skewed in their thinking. It's like, well, I had a big lunch, so I'll have a little dinner, and you're like, just because you had a big lunch doesn't mean you're any less hungry now. And it's so very interesting to hear how generations talk about things. And what I think is really important is that we probably have a platform and the ability to help change it for other people, so that when young girls are looking and consuming content online, rather than looking at newspapers, they're looking at our sorts of content, they can see that these things are normal, even though they might be told at school that it's not, you know. So for us, showing those elements of like our training sessions, it's not posed, it's not great lighting, we're just in like a normal gym with a normal camera just like propped up, and you can see that the whole picture is not this like picture perfect image. Because I don't know about you, but like so much gym content I consumed when I was younger was like the most gorgeous content. Like it was crisp editing, it was some crisp camera, it was posed, and it was like, I think it was just so one body type that was like pushed is like a gym or even like a fitness physique, and you're like, well, no, fitness isn't a body type, it's a way of life and a feeling that you have, I think.
Absolutely. I'm just going back to the school thing, I wonder if they actually have any sort of safeguarding in place. And I don't know. Are there talks that women like? Are there talks that are set in place as like a nationwide, international wide sort of system or practice to speak with women, with young girls, and talk about like these things you see or these things you've heard?
I don't know, but even like period education isn't done enough in school, so I'm presuming that it's probably
not. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to talk, I'm not a teacher, so like I don't know. We don't know like we don't know the ins and outs. There's so much I think that goes into education, but it's definitely something that needs to happen. I think there is the option of breaking a cycle, and I don't want to have another generation of girls have to get to like 23, 24 before they realise, wait, life is way more than just like how I look, and my appearance doesn't mean that people will love me.
So was that kind of how like the narrative for you, that you had this sort of belief system that you needed to look a certain way up until a certain point, and like what was that certain point for you when it kind of clicked?
Yeah, so for me, I was talking about this yesterday actually. It was when I lost my granddad that I sat there and realised, what am I doing? So backstory for you, like my family, we looked after my granddad. I come from separated families, so like me and my grandparents on my mum's side did a lot of growing up together. And when my granddad was ill, we were like, okay, let's provide end-of-life care for him. He built the house that they lived in and he wanted to pass away there. So we tried to carry out that wish as best we could. So, and then my grandma, obviously the way she was, I was writing my dissertation at the time. So she would like bake me cakes and make me cookies and cups of tea on drip with like a digestive biscuit. And I remember sitting and wanting to track those biscuits on my Fitness Pal, and I was worried because it was maybe like a handmade cake. I was thinking, oh, I don't know how many calories are going to be in that. And then I looked at my granddad, who was literally had like a few days left. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I worried about gaining weight in a period where I'm caring for someone I'm very, very, like, I love a lot? And why am I worried about the calories in a slice of cake that my grandma has made for me out of love, because we're trying our best to get through this situation? And it was from that point I was like, this has got to stop. I've got to stop relying on my appearance for validation and for like love. So from that point, I it's weird, this weird thing about grief. And I think a lot of people can relate. It gives it like is the hardest time of your life, but it also gives you such a pivot. You realize at that point that life is really short and that you need to grab it by the horns, as you'd say. And so I did that. So from that point, I've not tracked calories since my granddad passed away. And like it's not based on that, but some people can, some people can't. And I found like food education being the best way for me to go forward. And that was sort of the pivot for me in terms of content. I was like, no, for so long I was like, okay, I want to make content that looks really clean cut, and I want to make content that looks like everybody else's content. So like if I was doing an RDL, I'd film it from 4 angles and I'd pick the best one, right? Whereas now I just film the content and I put it up. Wherever I've got a back roll or it's not the best lighting, or, you know, you can still my cellulite, I don't mind, because other people need to see that. Other people need to see that that's real life. It's normal for you to have those sorts of things. So yeah, my pivot was based on a period of grief that I was like, life's too short. And then I have a younger sister myself, and then Alex has got 2 younger sisters, and I was like, hearing them talk about certain things, I was like, this is like, I just don't want another generation of girls growing up the way we did. So I think it's important. I think there is a lot of like responsibility in terms of we can help people just by making different types of content that we didn't see when we were younger.
Yeah, definitely. So do you think like was there actually always like a comfort within your own body and in your skin? It was just that you had these like societal pressures, or have you had to kind of navigate feeling comfortable in your own skin?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I don't know if it's normal because I've never really spoken to anyone about it, but like there are moments where I feel very uncomfortable in my body. It's something that you can't really explain unless someone's experienced it themselves.
Still to this day.
Yeah. Like, I mean, yesterday I was at a talk and I was just so self-conscious of like the way that my stomach felt in my jeans. Or if I'm wearing a top that's too tight, I'm very aware of my arms and how they feel. It's so strange because I can't really describe it, but I just get, sometimes I just feel so uncomfortable. But I know now that isn't, okay, well, I feel uncomfortable, so I've got to change something. I know that that's just a moment and that will pass. I don't have to then go home and think, okay, what am I going to do to change that? I need to lose some weight, or like I need to change this. I need to throw that top out or not wear those jeans again, or, you know, I know that it's just a moment. It will pass. But I think when I was younger, I just felt so uncomfortable. I just felt so... Yes, there was this pressure from society to look a certain way, but I felt very uncomfortable in my physique, and I don't know where that stems from. I don't know where that stems from, and I don't know where it comes from. There's no like moment in time where I'm like, someone said this to me, and ever since then I felt uncomfortable.
What do you mean by like uncomfortable? Like,
what
does that actually feel like?
Just aware of body parts, I think, is the only way I could describe it. Aware of how body parts move, or like aware of how they feel in like clothing, or if you like at the gym or on the beach or something, aware that there's other people there and are they judging you? 2 different things, but yeah, the way it feels sometimes is difficult.
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain.
Kind of sounds like, I mean, not to diagnose, but I certainly, as someone with ADHD, it sounds like sensory.
Yeah, that's probably more like.
It's funny though, you grow up, I feel like a lot of people will know what I'm talking about when it's like you grow up not knowing these things, and then someone tells you, like, you'll get like a diagnosis or something, or someone will just explain something. Oh, that's why you feel the way you do. You're like, oh yeah. My whole existence has been based around struggling with this.
And things click. And you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I also think as a woman, like, just I give myself so much grace now, and I think social media is quite good at doing so, or at least the content I consume. But give yourself some goddamn grace with how much the female like anatomy and like body can change throughout even a month.
I mean, that used to turn me nuts. That like, because I get bad periods. I don't know about you, but, well, bad is a very subjective word, but like for me, my periods are really hard moments of the month. I get very bloated and it's quite painful, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm coming up to my period, that's why. Whereas when I'm before, well, like a few years ago, I was like, God, I hate. And then you'd be like, God, I really hate the way I look at the moment. Got to change something. And I didn't used to pay attention to the fact that it was probably because my period was due.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I look, so different. I'm so bloated. Got to do something different. Got to change.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm like, in 3 or 4 days' time, it will look different.
That's something I've really noticed. I actually am so glad you raised it, because I did want to like say this to the girlies listening. Like, that's something I found so noticeable since kind of moving throughout my 20s. I'm now like into the second half of my 20s, and it wasn't even really a conscious thing. I don't write in the app section, like in an app or something, but I've become very in tune with having had so many cycles now at this point. And so I really can I am able to kind of come from this like objective lens now where like I'm like, whoa, why do I feel like I've like put on so much weight, and I like, why do I not like being in my body, and da 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 da. And then I just take a moment and I'm like, where am I at in my cycle? Oh, there's a trend there.
Yeah.
Oh, and then like for me, I also get really, really heightened like sensory issues around certain parts of my cycle. So it's kind of understanding that. And then also for me, I'm a little sensitive girly. I'm
so sensitive.
Yeah.
You'll find me crying most moments of the day.
Oh yeah, honestly, slay. But like even, you know, around certain parts of the, like a prime example, when I was telling you earlier, like me crying at Goose because I just loved her so much, like the other day, that's like, oh, we're actually, I'm not having a downward spiral or a rough patch. Maybe I'm just at a certain part of my cycle.
Yeah, I think in terms of like both physical and mental well-being, it's very nice to be aware, because I get crazy depressive cycles just before my period. I'm like, everything is bad. I get very self-destructive just before my period. I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I'm failing. You know, I need to do this. Like, so nasty to myself. And then my physique's changing. I'm bloated. I feel uncomfortable. I almost have like a sicky feeling sometimes. And I used to be like so mean to myself, and then it'd get worse. And I'd be like, and then you come out of that period, or just before your period, and it's like there's a light. You're like, oh my God, it's not all bad.
Yeah, you're like, I feel fucking fabulous.
You're like, oh my God, brilliant. Huh? Yeah,
What's happened there?
It's like, is this the same person? Like, because like last week I hated life. I hated myself, both physically and mentally. And this week I'm fine. And yeah, I mean, it's hard, but acknowledging that is the best thing I could do, because I'm the same as you. I have some severe sensory issues in terms of like clothing when I'm on my period. So I almost have like period outfits.
Oh yeah.
Like a go-to gym fit that will be like, that's fine. That's not going to bug me. It's not going to be too tight. And yeah, I wish people spoke about that back to the school thing, but I wish people spoke about that at school, because they were like, I remember learning about periods, they'd be like, right, so it's this amount cycle, but no one talked about like the exhaustion you can feel as well, because for us in terms of training, you can't compare one week to the other. You have to compare it almost like points in cycle into the other point of your cycle. And because I run a lot more now and like running marathons and stuff, I get so worried that the marathon date is going to fall on that extreme low in terms of energy, mental stability and physical feeling. I'm like, God, I don't know if I could run a marathon in that. But then what do? You just have to do it.
I know. It's wild. You know, when you hear people talk about how like everything's kind of set up for like a man's cycle, that 24-hour reset, hormones are good to go.
I know.
And it's like, it's just such a different experience for us women. At the point you're at now, like, is your experience in your body, like, are you kind to yourself, or is it like, no matter like what your content is and your style, like this is still something you'll probably always have to like ongoing sort of practice within yourself? Like,
yeah, I mean, I say this a lot on my stories, especially. I'm very much still in the middle of a self-love journey. I don't know if there is really like a definitive end point, but I am 10 times better than I used to be. I look back at who I was like 2 years ago, and it's nowhere near who I am now in terms of like how kind I am to myself, or, you know, the way I feel about who I am and how I look. But I mean, I do have self-destructive moments, and I do have, sometimes I'll leave an event and I'm like, why did I say that? And then you sit and you pick it apart, and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I say that? Why did I say that? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. You know, oh, I should have been nice to that person. I should have liked, you know, given her a hug when I left. Oh, she's going to think I'm rude because I haven't given her a hug as I said goodbye. And then it's like, oh, you know, I do have moments where I pick my physique apart. And I was saying this to one of my gym friends, is that it's the highs and lows, and I know, but the difference is now in the low point, I know that I will come out of it and there will be a high. So that's where it's significantly different to when I was younger, because when I was younger, I was like, there is no end to this low point. But learning to like love who you are is a long journey. And I think it's talked about a lot online now, but no one really describes how it can take a while for some people. And I'm very much still in the middle of it. But yeah, it's 10 times better than I used to be.
It's so easy to say like, oh, you just got to love yourself.
Just love yourself.
But it's like, you know, the act in which one takes on to love themselves is like,
hard.
It's hard. It's nitty gritty. It's not pretty and flowery and running through fields. I love myself.
Yeah, and there's a lot of confrontation. Like you have to really confront some parts of you that you didn't realise that you had. One of my biggest things when I was, well, I say younger, like 2 years ago, was clothing. I would just try to wear whatever was trendy at the time. And I now fully accept. I look at trends, I'm like, that's not going to work for me. And that's fine. Like, that's fine. That's not going to work for me. That's absolutely fine. And I'm like, I don't even bother trying it on in the shop. And that was the first piece of like advice I give to other people, was that you just learn what works for you in terms of like fashion pieces and clothing. And for me, that was one of the first steps I made into feeling more comfortable in my body and feeling more comfortable in my skin and feeling confident in places, because a lot of it stemmed from feeling so uncomfortable in my body in the clothing I was in that I would then just wanted to like retract and not go to the events that I was invited to, like not go to the pub with my friends, because I was like, oh no, nothing looks good. Every girl can relate to the fact that you have like 500 outfit changes, that's fine. But when there's a 500 outfit change and a little mental breakdown at the end of it, and then you're like, I'm not leaving this house for the next month, that's when it's a bit too severe. So I threw out all the clothes that I'd put on, and I'd have to feel probably like one day out of the month that I could wear it. And I'm like, I just don't have it in my wardrobe anymore. Just throw it out. And like every piece I look in the wardrobe now, and I'm like, most of this I can feel comfortable in. But the one thing I still struggle with is vest tops, which is interesting.
How so?
Just because it's a fixation on my arms and how they look without being in a t-shirt.
It's so funny though, because I've like never looked at you and thought that.
No, but I find like, because I go from periods where I'm like, oh, I love my arms, and then periods of like I really struggle. And it's like spring when I've been sat in a jumper for like majority of the year because we live in the UK, and then you go, okay, so I can't wear a jacket anymore. And then that's that confrontation again. You're like, no, that issue that I have, that like feeling towards my arms is still there, but I've just been able to hide it for the past 6 months because we've had to wear jumpers. So you get that confrontation, then again it's like in a bikini, you go, no, I'm fine, and you have to confront it almost summer on summer, but it just gets less and less daunting each time.
I've mentioned this before about like exercises that you can do, like mental exercises to help you move through whatever you're struggling with. For example, when you're feeling anxious, I like to think of myself like as a little tiny dot on a map, and you just zoom out and you keep zooming out until you reach like the freaking universe, and you realize things aren't so big, right? And another one is like with regards to like your body, is like if you can really actually simplify it and just think about it like your body is a vessel. Your body has a purpose. Absolutely. And it allows you to do all of these things, and it allows you to like move here, dart there. And, you know, we look at ourselves under such a microscope that like, it's just like, I don't know, it almost feels kind of unnatural, and it feels like we're kind of fishing for something. Like, we didn't, you know, back in the day, we wouldn't have had all these mirrors plastered everywhere, all these photos. So it's like, no wonder you feel that way. And I think for me, that really helps bring me back down. Like, nope, my body's serving a purpose. I wondered, are there any sort of like practices you have for like, I don't know, visualization or sort of like a mental...
There's a few things that I've changed in terms of trying to build healthy habits. So one of the first ones I did was I stopped asking to check photos of me once people had taken them. So, you know, you'd be at a family event and your grandma or whoever will just be like snapping pictures, or like you're with a group of friends and you're taking photos and you're like, oh, can I see it? Can I see it, please? Just so you almost like, just in case it goes on socials or something. What I've done is I've stopped saying, oh, can I see it, please? Because in that moment, I would find myself picking apart. So like, let's say there's a group of your friends and you go on your phone and you're like, oh, can I see it please? And you just zoom in and you almost zoom in specifically on you, no matter what the moment was. Let's say it's someone's birthday or they're celebrating graduation or whatever. And you're like, no, zooming in, you're like, no, I redo that. I don't like the way that my arm looks or the way that my legs look in that. I stopped doing that, and I found subconsciously I was picking myself apart way less when I looked in like mirrors as well. Mm-hmm. Or like just like in terms of just sitting in my body, I fixated on it less because I wasn't talking about it in like out loud. I think because in that moment where you're like zooming in on a picture, you're like, you out loud say, oh, can you redo that? I don't like the way I look in that.
You're like also just like stepping out of like such a beautiful moment.
I know it's a moment, I mean?
Right?
There's a reason why someone's taking the photo. You know, it's because of something that's like amazing or it's just like a happy memory, and that's how I see it. So that was the first one I sort of did, and now I look at photos as like happy memories rather than being like, no, I had to look good. It has to be like good for Instagram. You know, it's like, no, whatever it is will be, and then it's just happy moments and memories that I can keep for myself and remember. I do that a lot. What you said about is in terms of seeing your body as like a vessel or a machine. Because when I was younger, a few people said to me like, I've got big legs. Like I said, I've always had quite big quads, and from dancing. And someone once said to me like, did you want your legs to get that big? And I was like, it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of doing something that I love, training in the gym or running. And because of my legs, I can run marathons. And because of my legs, I can, play with family members or siblings. And I'm like, I don't sit there and think, God, my legs are big. I'm like, no, my legs are f***ing strong. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
So I think that shift. And then, like I say, like sometimes I have like fixations on my arms, but it's not all the time, and it's way less now. So I'm like, no, because my arms let me hug my friends and family, and that's lovely. But also I constantly remind myself, if I'm looking at myself and then comparing someone that I'm looking at online, think of the amount of times they retook that photo, right? So you're like, okay, well, I wish I had her arms. There was a thing a while ago everyone wanted Miley Cyrus arms. And I was like, okay, she looks great, but I can't look like Miley Cyrus. Nothing in my life is like Miley Cyrus, and we're so far apart. Like I couldn't look like her even if I did the exact same thing as her for the rest of my life.
Well, I love the recent trend as well. I've seen you do it, as well as other creators, of like being like, you're trying to look like that fitness influencer who doesn't even look like that.
Them, yeah.
She doesn't even look like that.
Like, yeah, so
it's a snapshot.
Yeah, exactly.
A moment in time.
You're then, so I'm only saying it because of the like where we both met is the gym stuff. So like I used to be like, okay, but I don't look like that gym girl all the time. I'm like, well, because she doesn't look like that either, and that's not being like nasty to ourselves or nasty to other people, but like in a picture, you look way different to like moving, like when you're picking a weight up off the floor and when you're moving around the gym, like of course you're going to look different. So then when you glance in the mirror and you think, oh my God, I don't look like her, I need to change like all that stuff, you're like, no, but she probably looks like that when she's walking around as well. You just don't see it because it's a picture you're comparing, or like a great pose in, like some videos as well, you can't, and also in terms of who you're following, some people can edit videos these days, and that is scary.
I know.
You can edit a video to look different, and you're like, okay, so what's actually real? And AI is mad. So
it's bonkers, and it's scary, and it's like AI is wild. AI is scary. I definitely used to edit my photos when I was a teenager.
I think most people did.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never edited a picture, but it's because I could never do it. It's not because I didn't try. I used to try it all the time with like pictures of like on holiday or like pictures that your friends take, and I would try and edit it, but I could never, everyone used to be like, you can see this is edited because the background is wonky. I would try and I'd be like, no, I can't. It just looks so bad. So then that photo would never see the light of day, but I tried. It's not because I didn't try.
I always used to like stretch the photo so that it'd make me look taller. And it's just like, But I mean, really, when I was in school, that's when like Facetune was a thing.
Facetune was big when I was at school.
Yeah. So
and
I would
filters, Snapchat filters.
put it in, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Snapchat filters were crazy as well.
Yeah, I feel like I made a vow to myself to not ever use filters. When I first started creating, I couldn't talk on camera without using a filter. And then I remember just because the reason I called my account Sig Rose is because I was like on a full on like growth journey. And I was like, right, I'm committing to this. And yeah, I remember being like, no, this is the step I need to take. But yeah, I haven't used a filter since.
I don't use filters anymore. I mean, I definitely used to use some of the Instagram story filters are crazy as well. Like, and some of like, you know, it like TikTok, some of the filters you can use in it, like you different eye colors, different eyelash extensions, and
yeah, but you know,
and it looks so normal.
Yeah, but that stuff I'm like, okay, cool, right? But like when it's so subtle that like
you can't notice
it even fools you to the point where you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Have you seen like even when they say as well, if you were to walk past yourself in a street, you wouldn't even recognize yourself?
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that's a real testament to the fact that like, I don't really feel like we'll ever be happy because we don't even see the real us. Like we only see, of course it's going to look off when we see a reflected image all the time. We've spent years looking at this reflected image. So for most people, unless you have a career like us or like you're a model or whatever, you're not used to having all these photos taken.
Yeah.
So for you, that feels very foreign.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's helped me a lot is that I look the way I do and my friends look the way they do. But I don't say to people, I can't wait for you to meet my best friend. She looks like this.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that trend. I think it's so clever.
And that is like a huge shift that it's so simple, but it like almost like re-altered my brain chemistry a little bit. I'm like, so why am I so fixated on like, oh, how I look when I'm meeting people or I'm going out? Because people that love you they're not like, oh, I love Sid because she's got curly hair.
Yeah.
You know,
you're gonna love her.
You're gonna love her.
Thighs don't meet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, so why am I so like, oh my, no, I can't wear that. Like my arms are out. People aren't gonna be like, I can't wait for you to meet Lucy. She's got cracking arms.
Yeah.
It's not how it's. I would never describe my best friend based on her features.
No.
I mean, I've never even said to them, oh, I can't wait for you to meet her because she's got brown hair.
Another one I love, which I remember hearing as well, is like if you were to care for someone's body, if you spent like the day, a week, a year in someone's body, you would be tender with them and you would care for them and you would like soothe them when they're feeling stressed and you would like be gentle, you would exercise them so they're healthy, you would eat like the right things that fuel your body. You wouldn't do all the things we're talking about. Like I thought that was so beautiful because that's a real easy one to visualize. Someone you love that you would do anything for or that you think the world of and they have no imperfections in your eyes, and it's like, I don't know, I think it's a really good exercise to think about.
Yeah. And the other one was like, it's very similar, but like when I was at my granddad's funeral, no one went, oh, Mick was great because he had a full head of hair. He didn't. But like no one made a single blooming comment on how he looked. They just mentioned all the things he'd done in his life that made him an impactful, kind, loving person. So you're like, so why am I so fixated on how I look when that's not what matters. What matters is how I treat people, how I treat myself. If I'm kind and loving and, you know, supportive of people, it's not based on how you look.
Absolutely. I've got some quick little facts to read because they're kind of staggering. Okay, so these are all on like body image when we're younger. One survey of UK adolescents by Be Real found that 36% agreed they would do whatever it took to look good, with 57% saying they had considered going on a diet and 10% saying they had considered cosmetic surgery. Among secondary school boys, 10% said they would consider taking steroids to achieve their goals.
That's nuts.
Children with poorer body image are less likely to take part in physical activity, and survey data from Be Real finds that 36% of girls and 24% of boys report avoiding taking part in activities like physical education due to worries about their appearance.
That's so sad.
what was your relationship like with PE back in school?
I loved PE.
You've always loved it.
But that's because I loved sport as a kid. My mum's very sporty, single parent household, so my brother was very sporty. You know, my brother did. I was very much the big sister. It's like, okay, well, if he's going to run, I'm running faster. You know,
yeah,
very competitive.
Yeah.
So I always loved sports. I wasn't very good at sports, a lot of them, because I've got an eye condition of double vision, right? So, but it wasn't, so I see 2 of everything without my glasses on. But that wasn't diagnosed in me until I was 16. So ball sports at school, I sucked at ball sports really badly. I couldn't catch anything. It's so diverse. This is so off topic. But
no, let it run.
But I couldn't catch a thing. So I was quite bad at like netball, rounders, hockey. I just the concept of where the ball was going was mad to me. So I struggled in terms of ability, but like it wasn't really struggling in terms of ability, but I did struggle in terms of catching a ball. But I think it's a huge thing that I recognised in some of my other friends at school. That the reason they didn't enjoy PE was because we're shoved in PE kits that are uncomfortable and quite almost like revealing sometimes. I think for the guys as well, like you have to get changed in a changing rooms full of your peers. That's crazy. You know, I remember being at school thinking, why isn't like the concept of wanting to wear a bra?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, everyone else in this changing room's got a bra on.
A padded bra.
Or they had like some nice pants that weren't, you know, your typical pants. And I remember going home and like, Mum, please let me have a thong.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
My thing was the bra. All the girls had padded bras that looked like bras.
Yeah.
And I remember being like to my mum, like, I want a bra. And she said, no, you can wear a training bra.
Yeah.
Which was like, and it's so funny because like,
it's actually all I want to wear now.
It's all I wear.
So I don't put me in a bra. I've got one. Don't put me in it, please. It's so uncomfortable.
I literally don't even have like. I don't think I even own a padded. Like
I don't own a padded bra.
Don't even talk to me about a wired bra. That was like. But it's weird.
And then I remember being, because like I said, I had a bigger chest from quite a younger age. Felt very self-conscious in my PE kit and my sports bra because I was like, my boobs are going everywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm. So
So I can imagine how it would feel if, you know, you were super, super, super uncomfortable in your body at that age. Because like as an adult, I would not be able to get changed into my PE kit or my gym clothes in a changing room full of girls completely like out in the open. Like when I go to the changing rooms, I stand in like this private locker, you know, to get changed. I struggle to like fully be in my underwear in front of other women, and I'm a grown adult. So these, you know, kids that are like, I think that might be where a lot of issues come from in PE. That you have to get changed in front of everyone else. And also there's this culture, isn't there? I remember being younger being like, yeah, be fast. Oh, he's cool. He's really fast in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's really cool. He's good at football. Or they'll be like, oh yeah, she's really good at rounders or whatever. So if you struggled to like kick a football, I don't know, it would have been difficult. But I think there's a big thing to say about PE kits. Mm-hmm. Let's make them more comfortable. Yeah. Let's make them more...
Please.
Let's make them more comfortable and like not a white t-shirt that could be see-through.
Oh, is that what you had?
It was like it just had to be a white polo.
Oh, right.
And a skort. Had to be a skort. And the white polo was so uncomfy. And it was like, it depended where you got it from, what the quality was like, could have been see-through. So I think we could just allow girls to wear a big t-shirt if they want to wear a big t-shirt, rather than having to wear a skort. I hate skorts. Mm-hmm. Well, no, I don't hate skorts now, but I hate skorts at school.
Absolutely. This is a side note, but like, I don't know, it just made me think of it, like how I think that's something that I just find so beautiful about like females in sport. Mm-hmm. Like as an adult now, because I think there's such a lack of enthusiasm, you know, at schools, like girls, like it's kind of, uncool to be trying so hard and to be passionate about something. That's like the most embarrassing thing you could do. We just literally had a Gym Girls Locker Room event, and it was like, I think the count in the end was like 110 girls. We had some GB athletes there that were doing powerlifting workshops with them, and they were saying like, oh, I can't believe how like into it the girls are. Like, it's so refreshing. And like, I think it's such a amazing thing to be able to sort of like reclaim that as an adult.
Really is. I think that's why so many of us are into, like, I mean, I say so many of us, but that's just because of the industry we're in, right? But like, into fitness of some form, whether that's like gym, lifting, running, high rocks, all these things. It's because we finally have the chance as an adult to be passionate and be obviously passionate about it, and it's not embarrassing to be like
to try things,
to try new things, and to be, oh, I'm not very good at that. Like, in comparison to a lot of people that I run with, I'm the slowest there, but I love it, and I'm not going to stop running just because I'm slowest. Whereas at school, I would have forgot my PE kit because I was slower.
Yeah,
you know,
you don't want to try that thing.
You don't want to try. You don't want to be not very good, so you just didn't do it. Whereas now I feel like we have this and almost encouraging culture to like, no, try and fail, because it's, what's the worst that can happen? You find, oh, you don't like that sport, you can do something else, which is really nice. But I do think there is a big space for young guys to talk about not having to look a certain way. I feel very much in females but we're trying to do something to help that, right? But whereas with some guys, they want to have like a physique or steroid use, like you were saying in that statistic, that's really sad that like young guys feel like they want to take steroids to look at them. They're going to
have such significant like impacts on your health.
Yeah.
And your body.
Say to me like, oh, have you ever thought about taking steroids? And if I'm honest, I was very naive at how common they are. Even in my own public gym, like at home, I was like, oh, so many people are taking steroids here of different forms. I thought steroids meant get bigger. There are so many out there.
Really?
There are like fat burning steroids, and there are like hunger altering,
like suppressants.
I mean, I'm very uneducated. I don't actually know, but like I've heard all these things. I'm like, oh.
I actually got a DM the other day, which is like so random, but I got a DM. I looked at my phone, I thought, no way have I just received that. It's like, do you want steroids?
Oh my god,
you can get needles. You can get tablets.
A DM of steroid sales, like
mass production steroids.
Oh my god.
I was like, you're speaking to you're speaking to the wrong person. Girl, literally. Okay, so I want to know where you sit and where you feel about being this like body positivity girly, and actually genuinely like just wanting to objectively say, for example, lose body fat percentage, or objectively wanting to, I don't know, build more body mass, right? Where for you are like the boundaries within kind of balancing body positivity and also kind of wanting to work towards some aesthetic goal, of sorts?
Interesting, because I've removed that from my life to be like, no, let's focus on healing. I think I could possibly look at doing something along the lines once I felt, no, I am fully healed within myself. This isn't just me leaning back on a negative habit. You know, I'm not looking and thinking I want to lose weight because of a negative, super, super negative thought process I'm having. It's just like, no, I would like to, you know, maybe lean down or, you know, whatever. But I think the encouragement I make to anyone is make sure you're doing it from the right place. It's not a place of complete self-hatred. It's almost a place of you wanted to be like self-betterment.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I don't think, you know, you can't lose weight if you're trying to be body positive. You can still be body positive because you're thinking about your body in a positive manner, but you are just accepting that it can change. And sometimes, as a byproduct of habits changing, your body changes.
So fair.
Which is something I found when I was running. my body lost weight and also gained weight while I was running. And it didn't bother me at that point if I was bigger or smaller, because I was like, no, I'm a machine. And I was training for marathon, right? So at that point I was having to eat a lot of food because I was so hungry all the time because I was running a lot.
Yeah.
And I gained weight. Fine. That's okay. And it wasn't, and at that point I was like, okay, there's a part of me that's healed here, because I didn't straight away go into self-destruct mode, because I didn't pick it up or notice it. But I think I would just encourage anyone who has really struggled with their physique or like body confidence and feeling comfortable in their body to make sure it's coming from a positive place and not like a negative old habit, you know? Because that can happen. It can, sometimes you can just think, it's like, let it not come from a breakdown that you've had over a pair of jeans. Let it come from just like, do you know what? I think I'm okay to do that now. I think I'm okay to start that process again.
Yeah. Like, as an example for anyone listening, I would hope, I'm really trying to like be honest with myself, and I'm like, yeah, I think this is the case for me, what we've just been talking about. Because for me right now, I'm in a cut, which is a calorie deficit for anyone that doesn't know, and just kind of like an effort to lean out and objectively just lower your body fat percentage. And for me, it's come from a place of kind of wanting to look like, I want to have that aesthetic, and not, I held myself back then from saying better, because it's not necessary. No, it's just I want to have more of like an athletic aesthetic, and also from a place of wanting to challenge myself physically, and just be like, oh, can I do that? And I feel like the ways that I'm going about it are actually, you know, if you are listening and you're thinking, oh, you know, I want to be like positive and kind and gentle with my body, but I also do maybe have these goals that I am like inquisitive about. Well, for me, what I'm doing is like, I'm not in a huge deficit. I'm still fueling my body. I'm still eating 3 meals a day. I'm just like watching what I'm eating and like watching my macros and just making sure I'm, you know, eating things that are going to keep me full. Like I'm having protein, which is going to really help me build that muscle. And also like the things I'm doing, I'm not doing obsessive amounts of cardio on a freaking Stairmaster like I used to do, just kind of like going and going until I literally couldn't get off. Like I'm actually running and I'm doing like HIIT training sessions with like a group of girls, which is fun, and like seeing what am I actually capable of. And like you said, that then becomes a byproduct where actually, you know, quite often when you work on these goals, then suddenly your body does just change from having a different lifestyle.
Absolutely. And like the only thing I wouldn't do is like on my page be like super like talking about it, because I wouldn't want a lot of people to think that then they have to do it.
Well, also I wonder if like you, because I'm interested in you touching on that, because I did wonder, like, you deciding to do that, would you feel conflicted then? Because
I would definitely feel conflicted, and I would feel I'm very protective over my community, and I, you know, brands can be like, can we get you to do this? No. Can, like, what about this product? You know, can you say it does this for you? No, not happening. And because I know how it feels to have someone that you trust say something and you think, I'm going to do the same thing, or that's going to work for me, you know. And I feel very passionately about a lot of people, because when you meet people in person, you're like, no, they can say to you, it's really helped, like you've made a difference, and with that comes responsibility.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't be like super promotional about it. I'd be like, yeah, I have some physique goals, but if I'm honest, it's so far from where I am, because I don't think it would be a healthy habit for me to have right now, that I don't really think about it that much. Because I don't think it would be healthy for me right now to have a physique goal. Also, the thing that's changed my life is goal-based training for a marathon, or training to, you know, hit a certain number in a deadlift PB or whatever. That for me is where I'm happiest. I'm not actually, if I have that thought, I'm like, maybe I do want to, change my body. I don't find that lifestyle for myself very happy. So I don't think about it. I don't do it. I haven't really thought about what you said, because it's not something that I would put myself into the situation right now. I enjoy goal-based training.
Yeah, well, I also think as well, like for you, it seems that you do take like your responsibility as a creator seriously, and like understanding that, those people that have followed you probably have followed you because it's something that they're actively trying to work on.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think understanding your audience and understanding what their
exactly, because you get some brands that they want you to say certain things about products. I'm like, that's not the case. I'm not saying that. Like, you can put a price bracket on me misleading or not even misleading, but just saying something I don't fully believe.
Yeah, it's not completely aligned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the community that I think we both have of girls that are trying to self-betterment in some manner, whether that be mental or physical or confidence or whatever. So I think that there is a lot of beauty in, you don't have to change, but like if you want to, just make sure it's from a healthy place.
Yeah, absolutely. If I said to you like sort of like toxic body positivity, what would your sort of thoughts and response be to that?
Toxic body positivity.
So
I think people doing it because it's popular, that I struggle with. People doing it because they've seen a video do well online, they then recreate it, not from a place of passion or of caring, but because they want views. That can upset me sometimes, because I'm like, now it seems that it's something that you want to do just because it's got views, not because you have a deep passion for it. But I haven't really seen too much toxic body positivity culture apart from that. That's the only thing I've seen that I've noticed and I've thought, is that coming from a place of genuine passion and love, or is that coming because you want to have a good video?
And do you think that with regards to sort of social media, and do you think like this whole body positivity, like specifically like the kind of like showing your body from different angles and that sort of thing, do you think that anybody of any shape and size can do that? Like even if you are like a super slender, athletic sort of physiology?
I think it really depends, because my point of view is I've never experienced what it feels like to struggle in a smaller body. So for some people, they may genuinely struggle in having a smaller body and want to, change and to be bigger. I've only ever experienced it the reverse way. So I find it almost hard to comment on that, because I can't relate nor experience it. But again, I think it just has to come from a place of, if you are doing that because you're almost from one angle then the other, if you're doing that because you think it's going to help somebody, and you genuinely think it's going to help somebody, and you think it would have helped yourself when you were younger, then fine. But if you're doing it just because it's going to get views, that's what I struggle with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I think body confidence as a movement applies to everybody, because I think no matter the shape or size, we've all struggled of some regard in feeling confident. Because people might look at me and be like, what do you mean? You've got nothing to struggle about, So I would find it hard to say that about somebody else, because we don't know what battles are going on inside their heads about their physiques and how their bodies look. But there is an element of people doing it for views, I think.
Yeah. Where do the boundaries lie between sort of encouraging people who have sort of body types or lifestyles that are potentially unhealthy, and would potentially have like, I am specifically referencing, say, obesity, and they like have, maybe they aren't doing any exercise, but they're promoting sort of body positivity. Like, where in the community does that sort of lie? Like, I'm just asking out of genuine curiosity. Like, for me, I always wonder about like, how do we navigate promoting a healthy life actually, in terms of you having a long life, you know, a healthy life, and body positivity. Do you know what like the genuine stance is on that?
I don't.
Yeah.
No. I think you could definitely deep dive into the industry and find out.
Yeah.
I think probably half of my problem here is I try not to spend too much time on social media, so I don't really see too much content. I try to spend time on social media, but not. I found a definite correlation between too much social media exposure and feeling negative. But I think the general theme of it has to be happiness and health. You're happy and healthy, you know. But I don't really know, because I only ever really speak about it from like a personal experience, and I try not to talk about things that I don't really know about firsthand.
Yeah. So fair.
Because I don't really know about it firsthand.
What is your relationship like with social media?
I love social media. I love a doom scroll on, you know, either app. But I find a lot of self-comparison lies in too much social media exposure. And often that comes from lifestyle-based comparison now than it did a few years ago. It was all body-based comparison, whereas now it's all like lifestyle-based comparison, which I don't know if that's a shift that happens as you get older, or if it's a shift that happens as you heal one phase of your life and then you're moving on to the next. But I'll quite often be like, how's she got that? Have they bought that house? You know? So I just try to, if I find something that then triggers a negative thought, I'm like, okay, off it now and let's do something else. I'm trying to really increase my amount of habits that happen off a phone.
What do you mean by that?
Reading, walking outside, sitting with my mom, having a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? Trying to do stuff that doesn't involve me sitting on my phone and then doing it at the same time. So I don't know if you can notice it, but sometimes we go and see friends and then you sit there on your phone and you think, no, try and be present. And I like flip the phone over and I lay it on the table. And I'm like, okay, no, let's try and be present and talking to my friends and not being too fixated on what's going on the phone. That can wait. And trying to do like reading. I think I saw in your story the other day, like painting.
Yeah.
Trying to switch off in a way that isn't socials.
Well, yeah, it's something I definitely struggle with. I am with a man that really doesn't use social media at all, really. Doesn't post, doesn't come from this world at all. And he's definitely been saying to me recently that like my consumption, or well, to be honest, I wouldn't even say my consumption, because I really don't use social media to consume anymore. I just use it to create and to put stuff out there, you know, as my job. But being on my phone, answering emails, replying to people, I really don't have any boundaries there right now.
Neither do I. I think it's also very hard with our job to have boundaries in terms of that, because you always want to be active and you always want to be like, no, I'm working. You know, you want to be like, if you see an email that's like something you want to, you're like, no, let's reply to it now. And it's hard to have those boundaries. I definitely think it is.
And I must admit, in the name of honesty, recently, you know, I've been getting annoyed at him, and I bite, and he says, Sid, you're literally on your phone, and it's like the evening, and I'm just sat here doing nothing, and you know, I go, yeah, but it's my job, and I'm busy. And I am busy, but I equally have really slackened off boundaries that I set in place to make sure that I am doing other things. So yeah, I definitely think it's really, really tough with social media. It really resonates what you say.
I do the same thing though with my boyfriend, so don't feel bad. I mean, it's not great.
Try,
but it's, I really struggle. I'm like, no, don't do that. don't be, or like to your mum, because I still live at home. So I'm like, no, I'm trying to do something right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, I was just asking you how your day went. I'm like,
yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I definitely do find that I'm just trying to have phone-free time.
Yeah, definitely.
Phone-free time.
How do you've been in a relationship for how long? We best speak about the boy.
Really?
Alex is Lucy's boyfriend, who we probably should have said that earlier.
Yeah, sorry, yes. 7 years in October.
How have you found, has that been a thing? Obviously you've been in a relationship like your whole
Adult life.
Is that a thing where you do again see social media, and do you at points feel, I don't know, alienated? I know a lot of girls will probably relate to you.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes possibly could said that I've felt, you know, left out or strange or whatever, but not really, because I have a great partner. Obviously, otherwise you wouldn't stay with him for 7 years. So
you'd hope not.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't say that. There's no rules in that. But it's definitely interesting, because a lot of my friends haven't had partners since they were 17. So like every life hurdle, I've had him there. So some of my friends come to me for like dating advice. I'm like, I haven't dated, really. I've never dated anyone.
Yeah,
I've never been on dates.
No.
I went on a date, and then I had a boyfriend, and then I've had a boyfriend since then. So I've never dated. I can't. And a lot of people say to you, do you not feel like you missed out? Do you not feel like you missed out on dating? I'm like, no, because I found my person early. You could say early, but yeah, I found my person, so it's fine. I don't have any like FOMO. I'm not like, oh, maybe it would have been fun to go on dates, because I don't think I would have found that fun, because I'm quite introverted in some manners. I don't think I would have found that fun. But
the whole grass is greener concept is definitely interesting.
Yeah, because then I speak to some of my girlfriends, and they're telling me about their dating stories, and I'm so glad I don't have to do any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, honestly,
like,
single life is fun when it's fun, and when it's not, you're out here in the trenches.
Yeah,
you really are.
So I'm. It's hard to say, because I don't ever try and think about, because I have such a problem with self-comparison. I try really hard not to outwardly think about other situations that I could have been in and how I would have been happier, or could I have been happier in that situation. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy where I am, so I don't think about it.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine not having Alex in my life.
It's almost like we sometimes give too much attention to things. Yeah. I think that's something I do. I almost, it's like I'm trying to like tease these things out of myself that don't really need to be. Because we're like, let them be. Let them rest.
Like someone older than me goes, do you not think you missed out on like having fun and dating? I'm like, no.
Also kind of fucking rude.
Also,
mind your own beeswax.
Also haven't thought about it, because I've been in love with a guy for 7 years. I haven't ever looked at him and thought, oh, I wish I was dating. No.
And perhaps if you had, you would have, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's interesting.
I'm also very aware, and I've always said to Alex, like, I will never be in a relationship with someone where I feel it's detrimental to my happiness. I've watched those forms of relationships in my life, and I will not ever be a part of one.
Yeah. Having been together for such like pivotal like moments, you know, throughout your 20s and is it teens as well?
Yeah, well, yeah, we got together when we were 17.
Yeah, so that's like...
I turned 18, we became adults, I bought my first drink with Alex, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He wasn't 18 at the time. I had to go clubbing for my first time on my own. That's probably my biggest... That was like the biggest thing I did without him there, because I'm 2.5 months older, 3 months older.
Have you ever sort of been codependent with each other? Because I know certainly for myself, that's something I've struggled with in past relationships, kind of just almost... I think it's like it's almost like a distraction probably from myself, you know, I find it easier to pour myself into other people.
Yeah,
so
I do the same, yeah.
Navigated that over 7 years and making sure that you do sort of have your separate lives and passions, and what are things that you've been able to do to kind of implement that?
Well, when we were younger, we had very different lives. I went to uni Alex was a training mechanic.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
our lives were very different. He had an 8 till 5:30, not a 9 till 5. It was like 8 till 5. I was in university. I went to University of Winchester. So, and then we both also worked in a pub part-time. So Alex had 2 jobs and I had uni and a job. So like we actually didn't see each other that much when we were like growing up. So that's how I think we didn't become super reliant on each other, because we actually didn't see each other that much. We worked in the same pub, so that helped in terms of what we saw, but we would almost take the same shifts. We'd be like, no, let's both work a Thursday night, because then we can see each other. Because you're working Friday night and I'm working Saturday night, and then we're both working Sunday. So like, and then we'd see each other like almost outside of that. But I have always said I will not become codependent on Alex. I find it easier to not become codependent on my love partner than I do my friendships. I think because I've seen toxicity in my relationships around me when I was younger, I was like, that won't be me. And I said when me and Alex got together from the very start, that is not going to be me. I have my own life. I had dreams. I had goals. I was like, I'm not doing that. Before I was with Alex, I had a partner who I was with that. I felt that. I mean, we were very young, so it's very different. But I almost was like, whatever you do,
I'll be there.
I'll be there and I'll support.
Yeah. I'll drop everything.
Yeah, I'll support and I'll be there. So whereas now I'm like, no. I have a career goal. Well, I had a career goal, very different to what my career is now. I've now got separate goals. But I wanted to work in marketing, but I wanted to do what I'm doing now, but the other side of it.
Yeah.
So marketing for a fitness brand, but like be the person that, you know, we talk to, being like sorting out campaigns and running the campaigns and having the creative. It's very similar to what we do, right?
Yeah.
There's a very blurred line, but that was my goal. I was like, no, I went to university to study marketing, and I was like, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to get the job. My first job started before my degree finished, because I was like, they offered me the job, they're like, we can't hold it, and I was like, fine, I'll take it. So we've been very clear with so that would be what I would say to anybody in a long-term relationship. Just have very clear, no, this is me, my passions, my thing. They can merge. Like me and Alex are very fitness. We both love training.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so when you got into like fitness, gym and exercise, did you have him by your side the whole time?
No. So the gym we used to train at, I was there like a year before we got together. Alex didn't grow up in where I live. We didn't grow up in the same town. So like, I started going to that gym on my own. He is like a boxer. So kickboxing, boxing, and he went to a very boxing orientated gym. So like commercial gyms, he hadn't been to like a commercial weightlifting gym. He'd been to his kickboxing gym. So when I remember there was a few times that when he joined my gym and he got a gym membership, he was like, how do I do this? What do I do? And I sort of taught him a few things about weightlifting. I mean, it was a very long time ago. But yeah, I haven't always trained with him. We also didn't train together. We trained at the same time, but we didn't train together. I used to be like, no, this is my time. I don't want to train with you anymore. I know. I don't. No offense, love. I love you, but I don't want to train with you, because I just wanted to have like headphones in moments. We train together at the odd moment. It's actually more enjoyable now. We train together. I have a great laugh, but like before I was like, no, this is my time. So it's just having those clear boundaries, I think. Yeah. But I joined my gym without him, but I've only ever trained in 2 gyms.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. I get really nervous about changing gyms. Also, where I live there's nothing. There's hardly anything around where I live. So it's not, I didn't change gyms out of an option because I was like, no, I'm very comfortable here. It was just because there was not really anything else. It was like, yeah, there was not very many gyms in my local area. And if they were very expensive. So then I was like, I'll just stay here. And then I just stayed there for like 8 years. I stayed in my same gym 8 years. I've just switched gyms now, but
Why did you switch gyms?
because I wanted a more variety of equipment for like a switch in lifestyle training. So like I needed something with a pool, a swimming pool.
Yep.
And
she's got a bougie gym membership now.
Yeah. So I've got a swimming pool. Because what I was doing was I was going to a swimming pool gym and paying like almost the same, because I was paying for like one-off trips to go swim, and it actually ended up being the same amount of money if you were just to combine the two things together. Well, a little bit more money, but
I will say they are definitely worth it when you utilize them. You know, those spa leisure center sort of more expensive gyms. They are definitely worth it if you do make the most of it.
And also my one has got like a cafe area, and because I still live at home with my mum, it gives me like a workspace.
Yeah.
Where because I'm trying to save to like move out, I was like, okay, what is probably the best option for me? And it was paying for a nicer gym that had that area, that had like a cafe as well as a swimming pool, whatever, because I was actually spending the same amount just like going to a coffee shop every day and buying like 2 or 3 coffees just to sit there for the whole day to do my work. So I actually looked at my budgeting sheet and I thought, actually, if I add all these things up together, I can go to a nicer gym that's got a pool, cafe, and, you know, a spa area. Treat myself a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, it's one of those things that you think once you're getting older, you think, no. I think it's a sign that you're getting older. You want a nice Hoover.
Oh, yeah.
You want a nicer gym.
Yeah.
And you think, right, this is here. I'm getting older here. I'm maturing. It's the small things in life.
But also, do you drink?
No.
So it's like, treat yourself, right?
Thing, a lot of, I speak to some of my friends, they're like, God, do you not think it's a lot of money, like what you spend on like fitness stuff? And I was like, similar pricing to what you guys spend when you go out and you're drinking. I have no problem if you want to, like, I'm not one of these don't drink judgy people. If you want to drink, absolutely drink. I don't like it. It increases my anxiety to the absolute max, and I don't want to drink. So I do have the occasional glass of wine, but like I'm not a drinker.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I think that's what I don't like as well. I don't like, for me, my only real experience of drinking has really been like that whole drinking culture of like trying to drink as fast as you can.
As much as you can.
Yeah. And like when I went traveling, I remember I went solo traveling, but I've met a really good group of guys and they were all talking. I remember it so vividly. They were talking about like their favorite drink. And I was just like, I don't have that. And I think I just like, as you get older, you really learn to like lean into the parts of yourself that like you maybe couldn't accept so much. And so like now I just don't drink. But equally, like this weekend, I had 2 cans of Copperback.
Wow.
Which is a fruity cider. So like, you know, it's like, you don't have to be so boundaried with it. Like you don't have to create these rules for yourself. If you want to tap into that one day, you can. If you want to tap into that the other day, you can.
I'm not like I don't drink. I just don't like drinking that much. So I have like the occasional glass of wine or a cocktail or a cider. Like you say, sometimes like a nice sunny day, a little cider, cute. But like I'm not. I used to work in a pub, which is obviously very alcohol based, and I watched alcohol consume people's lives, and I was like, I can't do that. Yeah. Also, I think working in hospitality, it changes you.
Oh boy, it does.
You don't want to drink anymore, or nor do you have the time, because your days off are like a Tuesday and a Monday night. You're working the social hours of the week. So people be like, oh, you coming out tonight? I'm like, sorry, I'm working. So actually, I think it's just like a byproduct of like the job I had as well, that I didn't end up drinking too much, because I was like, well, I'm working till 1 a.m. I'm working for like 8-9 hours. I don't want to go to clubbing right now. There was a few times there when I was younger that I went clubbing on the back of like an 8-hour shift.
Oh, yeah, they're rough.
Yeah.
I think you can do it more so. I mean, can you imagine, God forbid, if we tried now?
I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it.
Carry me home. I'd pre-drinks.
They'd think I'd passed out from alcohol. I'm just asleep in the corner. Like, no, I'm done. I just don't really enjoy it. And it also gives me such anxiety. So I'm just like, no, I'm okay.
I think it's like such a culture now of like wanting to just like get up in the morning and utilize your day and be up when the sun's up, go on that run, meet those friends, get that coffee, get that pastry.
Exactly. And I think also part of your healing journey is you recognize what doesn't serve you anymore.
Yeah.
And like you said, you almost lean into those parts of yourself that sit better with you.
Yeah.
And for me, I now know what I feel happiest at doing, and it's not drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I feel happiest doing certain things, and I think that's part of a healing journey that I can't wait for when people get there. That you sit there and you can actually, the same way as I look at like in a clothing shop now, that just doesn't suit me. I don't like that. That doesn't make me feel comfortable. I do the exact same thing with habits. That doesn't suit me. I don't like that. That doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable in a big drinking situation, so I don't go.
Yeah.
I don't feel happy when I can't wake up in the morning and go for my run or go to the gym or go for just a walk with my dog, you know? I like waking up clear-headed, happiness. That's where I sit. And I'm like, okay, fine. You don't... I think a lot of us when we were younger did what we thought everyone else wanted us to do.
Yeah.
So you just fall into habits that you're not actually really happy with. You just think everyone else is going to want you to do it.
Yeah, definitely. A question we like to ask everyone who comes on the podcast is, what is your workout split?
What is my workout split? Now that is a question. Just because...
Go on.
I'm in and out of training blocks. So currently, I don't have one.
Okay. Amazing. Well, don't worry, because Lucy Davis gave us a 10-week breakdown.
As in...
Or what was it? A 10-day breakdown? A 10-day breakdown.
Yeah, so
whatever suits you. How do you like to train?
Well, what I mean by that I don't have one at the moment is because I'm on the edge of starting a new training block. So like this week I don't have one because...
Lovely.
I'm thinking about entering a triathlon.
Put it out there. Go on, girl.
Oopsies. So I'm currently working out my training plan. But for me, I do 3 weight sessions a week, 3 cardio-based sessions a week. And by cardio, I meant like it used to be 3 runs a week. Now it's 2 runs, 1 swim. So
swimming,
it's a look.
I can't get on board. Do you go full cap and everything?
Full cap, goggles.
More aerodynamic? Is that why we do it?
Also, I hate when I lean to the side to breathe. And the hair goes in my mouth.
Oh, I thought you just meant you hate leaning to the side to breathe, period, because like that's why I hate swimming.
No, I used to swim a lot as a kid.
Same.
And I love it. I actually find so much peace. No one can talk to me. No one can get hold of me. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get some waterproof headphones.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes. I've just seen Shocks do waterproof headphones. The same headphones I run in do headphones you can swim in. And I think it's going to change the game for me. Under the sea.
Do people do that?
I don't know if people do that, but I'm going to do that.
Oh, is that what we're listening to, Ariel?
Really absorb yourself in the water moment. And then I run twice a week and I do a leg day, a body day, and a full body day. That's my split.
God, she's got it all going on.
Yeah, my problem is I don't have an identity. I like doing all of it. So like I just do.
Oh, I love it. You know, something I've been really trying to do recently, practice recently, is I realised I had this sort of thought process in my head that a workout or like a day, you know, a tick, I've done my exercise for the day, wasn't valid unless it was a really intense gym session. And it's like, you know, last week I was like, oh, I only went to the gym like once, and it was like, yeah, but I was running, I was doing functional fitness, like
yeah.
And so I mean, maybe people will relate, maybe they won't, but like, yeah, I think the hybrid training is interesting. I think it's really cool and it's exciting.
It's exciting. It's cool. It means you're not surrounded by mirrors all the time. And it also means you really have that thing of like, no, I'm challenging my body. It is a machine. And for me, that's really changed the perspective I have of like my body and how I care for it. So in depth, in terms of what you were saying, in terms of what's my split, I do 1 interval training run a week, 1 long run a week, a swim, and then I just thought I'd clarify that. I thought to myself,
what does a long run look like when you're not training when you're not like in the whole marathon prep and everything?
I I just try and stick with anything above a 10K at the moment. Just sort of to keep my stamina going. I can't lie, there is a thing that I've discovered, I don't know if it's a universal thing, post-marathon running is really hard. So I had it after London last year, I had it after Paris this year, that like, I'm like, oh, I ran a marathon, but now I'm really struggling. It's just because because I'm still quite new to it all. I don't know. So at the moment, the furthest I can do is 10. But I'm building myself back up to it.
So like, it's the most beautiful but also most frustrating thing about fitness is that like nothing's here to stay.
No, I'm like, guys, I ran a marathon like 6 weeks ago.
I promise you.
What's happening? What's happened? Well, I'm struggling.
What's on the agenda for the rest of the year? What have you got coming?
In terms of training?
In terms of anything.
Anything.
She's really in her travel era.
I am
through the grapevine.
in a travel era. I'm basically trying to utilise everything before I move out.
Smart.
It's a really expensive process leaving home. I almost think that's one thing that looks almost normal on social media, how easy it is to move out or buy a home. Everyone's like, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So I am just living at home with my partner and my mum and my brother when he's home from the RAF. And then I'm going to Australia.
Cool.
For 6 weeks, which I'm really, really excited about. But I'm also low-key petrified that I'm not going to want to come.
We'll approach that when it comes back.
I feel like everybody that goes there doesn't want to come home. And yeah, a few trips I've got booked. And then, like I said, looking at doing a triathlon. But I'm just finalising which event it is I want to do or can do. Like, which one am I going to be able to actually do? And then I've got a few work things in the picture, looking at going to schools to speak to girls about everything that we were talking about earlier. Because I think it's important to look at breaking the cycle. But that is also a little bit complicated. Going back to school, like I said to you earlier, it was there's a lot of things to do for that to make sure that you're doing it in the right manner. Yeah. So, but that's something that I'm very excited for and trying to put most of my effort into. Yeah. But I'm very excited to go to Australia.
That's going to be so exciting.
I know.
I do understand what you mean. Like, I think that's why I've not gone there, because I'm like, I don't want to know.
I don't. The lifestyle looks so fun. Everybody always looks like they're having a great time. The weather looks like it's consistent. Because like yesterday it was really hot, and today you need a full tracksuit. So
it's a lot. Where can people find you?
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Lucy_XFit, always.
Beautiful.
Is mine. And thank you very much for having me. It's been really fun.
Oh my God, no. I was honestly going to say, I think what you're doing is incredible. Always.
And you.
Ever inspiring, ever just like, setting the record straight in the most gentle and kind, lovely way. And I think the girls will massively benefit. You've been one of our most requested guests, so I'm so pleased you made it.
Thank you so much. Hello, darling.
Goosey says, like, I'm done.
Goosey says, I'm done now.
Yeah, she's like, guys, come on now.
She says, time to play with my ball again.
Yeah, literally. Remember, guys, you can find us at gymgirls.com on all platforms. Don't forget to give us a big old 5 stars. And thank you, Lucy, so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for listening, girls.
Bye.
Bye.